Hello everyone, I'm Tony Havercorn,
And I'm Guy Nevin.
and we're here to represent the Manly Way. Manly Way is a program that we're putting together, a ministry, a place where men can go to reach out and get information that they need to help them just through their daily walk and daily routines and working with their children and ways in which that we can step into their lives and help them. Because really our passion is to help other men through the daily tasks of being, whether it's a stay-home dad or primary caregiver, whatever it might be. There's so many areas that we've found over the years that we want to pass on and help, because even though it may seem easy, it really isn't. And those of you that are in it know that it's not easy.
Yes.
So we're here to help, and right now we've got a couple of episodes out there right now and explaining a little bit about us, and we're going to continue that. So because there's a lot of history and a lot of situations we want to pass on that will eventually lead into other areas that we want to help you as far as life goes.
Yes.
So right now we're going to focus again on some additional story, information on us, our background, and things that we've went through, because we know it's going to identify with a lot of you out there. Yeah. And today, Guy's going to go ahead and start, because he's got some great information we want to pass on to you.
Well, I don't know if it's great information, but it's information.
Look at that! I built him up, and now he's talking down.
It's my life, and it's what I've gone through, and so let's just go with that. It's it's a story, and it has a good end. So, but I really walked through some fire before we had some good end.
Yep. Don't we all?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So, like yesterday, I said that in 2014, I had a major stroke, and that stroke pretty much left me. For about 6 months, I couldn't use my left side of my body, and then after that, I started gaining things back. The kind of strokes that I have, I've had 4 now. The kind of strokes that I have, I found that the symptoms dissipate over time, and I'll talk more about that later.
Right.
But so I had just recovered from a stroke, and we were just getting our life back together, and I was doing some work, and my wife was working, and so my wife at the time was, she was doing tattoos, so in the evenings she would be gone, and I was trying to take care of the kids, and I was working through that, trying to figure out how to feed them healthy and do things, and I wasn't doing that great, but I was doing the best I could. And then it was about 1.5 years after my stroke that we found out that my daughter, who was in middle school at the time, we found out that she was getting sick, and we couldn't figure out what, she was losing weight, she was drinking a lot of fluids, and her coloring wasn't right, and she was going to the bathroom a lot, she was peeing a lot, and this, and we're like, man, does she have mono, or what does she have? And she wasn't feeling well at all. I mean, she was really not feeling well. And so finally, we took her in, after us, being the parents that we are and trying to fix things ourselves, we finally took her into the urgent care. And we said, hey, I think she has mono or something like that. And I was at work, and my wife, who at the time was, she had some time off, and so she took her in. And I get a call at about 2:00 in the afternoon, and the call was, from a doctor, and the doctor said, yes, Mr. Nevin, we have a serious situation here. When can you come down? And I'm like,
what's that?
For what? My daughter just had a cold, or she had mono or something. And she's like, no, sir, we're going to have to transport her by ambulance to the Children's Hospital in St. Louis. We were living in St. Louis at the time. We're going to have to transfer her to the Children's Hospital in St. Louis. And I'm like, do you guys know how much that costs? No, I'll just take her. You know, she's not that sick. And they said, yes, sir, she is that sick. And I'm like, what the heck is going on? Well, can you just come down? And I'm like, no, tell me over the phone.
Right.
What is going on? Well, your daughter has, we just diagnosed her as type 1 diabetic, and she's going into DKA, which is diabetic shock.
Which is very serious.
Yeah, it's very serious. And I'm like, oh, that's a big deal.
That's a
yes,
big deal.
you can take her by ambulance and do whatever you need to do. And I'm a big jerk, and I'm sorry.
Oh.
And so anyhow, I rushed down. I got there just in time to get her, to see her onto the into the ambulance, and I was wrecked.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody who has ever had a child who has a disease or something like that, I don't know how much more that we could take. It's like,
Right.
I just have gone through all of this medical stuff, and then, we just started getting a little bit of footing, and then having my daughter be diagnosed and going into the hospital.
Yeah.
I was a wreck.
Mm.
And so, fast forward to then, she's out of the hospital, she's home, we're learning how to do insulin, and all of that stuff. But a major portion of what you have to do when you're a parent of a child that's type 1 diabetic, it's diet.
Right.
And you have to learn, and you have to look at everything she
So
puts in her
true.
body. It's carbohydrates.
So was this like the first time that you run across the diabetic situation?
I didn't even know what type 1 diabetes really was.
Wow. So this was a first time
Yeah.
shock treatment.
Yeah, and they were like, who in your family's diabetic? And I'm like, nobody.
Wow.
So we didn't have any basis to go off of. We didn't have anything we knew she had one friend a long time ago that was type 1 diabetic, and we didn't really pay attention, to everything that went into it. We just knew we couldn't have a lot of ice cream and cake at birthday parties.
Right.
But, we didn't really know.
Right.
And so here I was thrown into this, okay, your daughter's has this disease. Now, what are you going to do? And so we got on Facebook groups,
Mm-hmm.
and we learned as much as we could. And I decided I'm not going to be the backup dad. I'm going to be the dad that's not backing away from a challenge. I'm going to go for it
Right on.
head on.
Right on.
And so I took it as a personal challenge to learn everything I could about type 1 diabetes.
Good.
And then I've been helping her ever since. And a lot of it is food.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of it is how do you feed somebody who has to look at every little carbohydrate they have in their body. Type 1, for those that don't know, type 1 diabetes is, what it does is part of your pancreas shuts down, the part that regulates your blood sugar. And so if you eat something with a lot of sugar in it, what it does is your body can't dispel the sugar out of your system.
Right.
So your blood sugar systems go up and up and up and up. And the higher your blood sugar goes, the more the sicker you get, and you can go into shock.
Mm-hmm.
And also it regulates it where it can't regulate it on the low side either. So you can have too little sugar in your body, and I'll go more into that. But that's really what it does. So everything she eats, and even getting stressed out or having
Which is a good question, because sometimes we're so focused on the diet that we don't realize that stress is another thing.
hormones, everything about a situation is anything that is going on with your family is the type 1 diabetic, their reaction to it is their blood sugar goes crazy.
Right.
So the one thing I knew I could do that would help is I could feed her better. So
Yes.
now here I am, a dad that's just learning how to cook, and now I'm learning how to cook thinking about carbs, everything carbohydrate, everything healthy as much as I possibly can.
Right.
So it was kind of double duty for me.
Mm-hmm.
And wow, it was a lot.
It's a huge learning curve.
It was a huge learning curve, and there really, you'd think there would be more out there, but so again, we were talking about dudes, right? Dude food, dudes doing things differently. So then you go into, okay, how do you feed a diabetic child? The dude way. And I'm like, I don't know. I mean, so I was having to learn all these
Right.
complex, all this stuff, and I'm thinking, I can't do this. But yet, I look at my daughter and I think, what else am I going to do?
Right.
I can't not do it.
Yep.
So
There's definitely a reason to fight for that.
yes.
Yeah.
So so I did simplify a lot of the recipes, and I just because I'm a dude and I simplify everything, but I learned how to. I'm learning.
Mm-hmm.
It's a learning curve, and it's only been it hasn't been 3 years yet, and yet I'm learning
Mm-hmm.
each day almost how to what works, what doesn't work, what foods affect her, and so it's I really needed some more help on
Mm-hmm.
nutrition. I needed some dude help on nutrition, and so that was a major reason why I want to do this is because I've learned a lot
Yes.
about nutrition, carbohydrates, what's healthy, what's not healthy, and it's good for everybody. It's not just good for.
I was going to say, not only for, all of us need to know some of this because at any given time we could be around somebody who goes into shock,
Yes.
and even just being able to recognize that. I mean, that's
yeah, and just the simple principles I'm learning about nutrition.
right.
That's across the board.
Yeah.
That's
just across the board.
yeah. That's everything that everything you need to know.
Mhm.
I mean, I don't feed my daughter a lot of soda. Well, that's a common thing. You shouldn't feed your kids a lot of soda.
Agree.
And there's just things that I'm learning that'll come out, and we're going to in the dude food under the Manly Way we're gonna have dude food,
Yep.
and in that you'll see fingerprints of really healthy ways of doing it. We're not gonna do dude food that's all bad bad food. We're going to show you healthy ways to feed your kids,
Mm-hmm.
healthy ways because it really does. It transcends just what we're talking about.
Sure.
And so we're going to have like a 7-day meal plan.
Yep.
Even a 30-day.
Even a
meal
30-day.
Yeah, 30-day meal plan.
That's what we're, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and we're gonna not only do that, but we're gonna show you how we're cooking it, how we're
Yes.
preparing it, and they're not really complex. It's just not complex.
I think that's the
stuff.
key. Is we're looking at making it. We want to make it simple, easy, little time as possible.
Yes.
So that because that's really not something I want to do. I don't want to spend all day in the kitchen preparing something, but I want to create something that's still nutritional.
Yeah.
That can feed my family.
Yeah.
And
We're even going to show you ways that we shop.
absolutely.
Now we're
Yeah.
going to have to start in Walmart because Walmart's pretty universal all
Yep.
the way around, and so we're going to show you what we're shopping for. The brand of things aren't as important as what we're actually shopping for,
Correct.
and it'll be fun. I
Yeah.
want to see Tony's big head on.
Yeah, I know.
Out there shopping.
You
for
just want to
things.
see me humiliate myself.
Yeah, I want to see him dance in the aisle.
That's it.
But
I would do that just to embarrass you.
no, you can't embarrass
Oh,
me.
that's true. I can't embarrass him.
No.
Maybe I can embarrass someone out there.
Yeah, but so we're gonna. Everything from cooking to shopping, all of this is really what we want to share with you guys
Yes.
in the dude food portion of Manly Way.
Absolutely.
there's going to be a lot of other things that we talk about, but again, like I said before, we really wanted to start with food because that was something that Tony and I both affected us greatly when we tried to step in and help out with our kids.
Yes.
It was a huge factor.
Yes, it was.
So we're going to start, and we're going to have the pizza.
Yes.
And we talked a little bit about that.
Mm-hmm.
And the pizza is going to be a different way of making pizza.
Right.
It's
way cool.
Yeah, it's way cool, and it's going to be real easy, and it doesn't take long.
Yes.
And we're actually gonna we're gonna make a video of us actually making the pizza.
Yes.
But right now, what you need to know is it's
that
gonna
alone could be pretty hilarious.
I know.
Tune
I know.
into that.
Yeah, but yeah, having the not just we'll start with the pizza. There's going to be meal plans and other cookbooks and other things coming, but for right now, yeah, I'm excited about the pizza.
Yeah.
And it's, again, but it's going to be a healthy way of making it. It's going to be healthy ingredients and stuff like that.
Sure.
And then I might even throw in a carb count on it. So if you're a dad and you need to know how many carbs are in this, or if you have a diabetic, if you know somebody who has maybe a diabetic kid or something like that, and you want to recommend them to all of our recipes are going to have carb counts in them, so that I can show you how many carbs are in a slice of pizza, how many carbs are in the whole pizza, so that we know it's good for all of us.
Oh, everyone at diet, and it seems like there's a lot of diseases and symptoms of diseases that are more prevalent today, and I think it's just because of dietary practices and the different types of food that are out there, and what people are eating too much of and not enough of, and they're just some good information that we can pass on.
I agree.
Because even for my in my story, my backstory, I also have one of my daughters had some issues, dietary issues, and it was a huge learning curve.
Yes.
And it was all during this time frame of transitioning and from being the primary income source to stepping into that position while I was going to school as taking care of my daughters full time. So Suzanne, my wife, Suzanne, could step into that position and be a primary income source for our family. But during that time frame, I remember, it was really kind of an interesting thing, because prior, my story, in the back, kind of backing up a little bit, when this all started, when I was talking about stepping down from this large construction company and wanting to go back to school, well, there was something that I myself was struggling with, and I think there's many of you men out there struggle with it as well, and we sometimes really don't know how to handle it. And for me, I was looking at running away from this very stressful type of vocation to going to school and trying to get into something different. Well, I'm still in construction. I've been down different roads, tried different things, but anyways, I struggle with something that I think a lot of you men have had to and are maybe even dealing with, and that's something I want to touch base with you next time. So,
but I think that you have. Tony has an amazing story. Tony has gone through his journey through life and his journey with his family. It's really, really cool, and he's a really solid guy. And so when you hear about some of his struggles, you go, wow, I don't see that guy right now, but that doesn't mean that it wasn't there.
Right.
And I know that from being his friend and knowing him, it's a challenge to then talk about it and be open with you guys and really share some of this stuff. But I think we care about you. We care about
Absolutely.
everybody that we're getting in touch with, and we want you to know that, one, we're just two Montana contractor dudes. We're dudes.
Yeah, we're just
we are
dudes. And we're crazy enough to get on film like this.
Yes. Yeah.
but it's all right because it is. We really do want to help others out there, other men out there, because
Yeah.
we know, like I said before, and I'll say it over and over, is that if Guy and I have these same things that we've gone through, then that usually is a pretty good indicator that there's thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of other
Yes.
men out there that are, if not exactly the same thing, pretty close to or at least similar to certain situations
Yeah.
that we can identify with, and hopefully either shed light, or if anything, let other men know that, hey, they're not alone, and that there's a lot of us out here, and there's a reason we can actually come together
Yeah.
and help each other. So
Well-
we want this process, and we really want it because it's just like we said before, especially for men, there's just not as much out there where it's just average dudes talking about
I
doing
agree.
average life.
I agree. Yeah, and you can't tell me that there isn't almost every guy out there. I know I'm guy, but every man out there who has some kind of a family, who has kids, who hasn't struggled with what the heck am I going to make tonight?
Yeah.
And I know that there are some really good cook dads and chef dads out there.
Yes.
But I'm talking about us normal dudes who just are dudes trying to, but there is a huge population of us who we really need some help.
yeah.
So,
No, and even in that, like, that made me think of something, because there are men out there that are great chefs, but in the midst of this, like Guy had mentioned, we're not going to just focus on food. There's so many
Yeah.
other areas we're going to get into,
Yeah.
and so if you're a chef, there's probably many other areas that you're weak in, and then that you want to identify with some other men out there, and I guarantee you, we're going to run across some stuff that they'll help you.
give me one more example of the manly way. What is the manly way going to touch on? One more thing.
Oh, there's so many different, but the manly way is going to touch on. Well, heck, we're just going to touch on just daily life.
Yes.
We've got not only food, but because we're really identifying with being with your primary caregiver. We're really kind of focusing in on that, and not only with food, but you had brought up with medical situations. What happens if you have to take your child to the doctor?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness! What if you have to go to a public place, like you had mentioned the day before there, and you got to use restrooms? What if you guys,
especially with little girls,
like I had two little girls.
Okay, it's the Me Too movement. So somebody sees a man taking a little girl into a bathroom. It's like, how do we go? How do we navigate that
Yeah.
correctly?
Yeah. Yeah, no, we have so many of them. We have everything from maybe you're not handy with your hands. We got special program we're going to come out with where we're going to talk about just doing special things around the home or whatever to because maybe you can't afford it, or you just can't do it yourself. But if you could do it with your child and teach them. My girls worked right alongside of me.
One of the things that we could do, Tony, I was just thinking about this. One of the things we could do is, if you have a question, because we are handyman, carpenter, we've been remodeling for years. If you have a question about something that's not on the topic of food, but you still want it, we'll answer those questions.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't want to wait for something to come out, just
Absolutely.
post. Just ask us a question.
Yeah, we love it.
And any type of question, and we're going to see if we can solve or not solve them, but answer your questions.
Exactly.
And we'll, give us background if you have any skill at all, or you want to know how better way to do something. A simple one is a drywall patch in your house.
Yeah.
If you have to have Tony or I come to your house and patch drywall, it's going to be expensive.
Right.
But if you want to learn how to do it quickly and easily, just ask us.
Yes.
And we'll deal with that more in these live, the manly way, because we're gonna in the dude food we're gonna stick with mainly food, but the
Right.
manly way, we just want a way to help you guys,
Yes.
and any way possible.
Absolutely.
I think that That's really what we're trying to do, is make it an open forum where we're going to have definite specific things we're talking about. But if you want to ask us anything, we'll try to answer.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well,
that's pretty good for today.
I think it is. I
Yeah.
think it's good for today.
Yep. So
All
we're
right.
gonna go do some shopping,
Yes.
and I'm gonna film him shopping.
Oh, that's gonna be hilarious.
But we're gonna make we're gonna just start doing some other stuff. So
Yep.
have fun, and I hope you had a great 4th,
Yes, absolutely.
and stay safe.
Yep. Remember, Manly Way.
Manly Way. Bye.